HeMan, me claw with his awesome grip of evil.
Who can stop Psycho? Max Steel, infused with Intech Super Strength.
How many of your childhood toys can you remember in 5 seconds? If you were around in the 1980s, you probably remember about 5 of those toys that made you feel special, and the thoughts of them alone may make you say, those were the good old days. Since it's already sad enough we'll never see these toys again, it doesn't hurt to go down memory lane and relive 1980s toys you'll never see again.
2 new puppies from the Pound Puppies collection, each sold separately from Tonga.
Pound Puppies. If you were a child during the 1980s, you'll remember these adorable puppies with floppy ears. They came as a specific breed of dogs, and their big sad eyes and soft huggable bodies were impossible to resist. It even made more sense that there was a backstory for their existence. We were told that the pups needed a home, and it was up to us to give them one. Every child wanted to adopt a pound puppy. We were like the foster parents because adopting one came with certificates that made the experience feel even more real. There was a Pound Puppy cartoon that aired around that time and told the stories of the adventures of these puppies. The production of the toys were eventually stopped when the cartoon no longer had its usual fame.
Good parents make Cabbage Patch Kids.
The Cabbage Patch Kids. Each doll is different.
Cabbage Patch Kids. Back then, whenever you saw a toy store with lines out the door and parents fighting over something, it was most likely the release day of a batch of Cabbage Patch Kids. It's fair to say that it was one of the biggest toy crazes of all time. If you were a Gen Z, you'll probably not understand the craze over these dolls. They featured round and chubby faces, their hair was made of yarn, and they had soft and cuddly bodies. One unique feature about them was that you couldn't find 2 Cabbage Patch Kids that were exactly alike. It made their owners feel extra special. And if you got one with a red head and freckles, your best friend probably had one that was brunette with dimples, while the girl down the street had a blonde with pigtails. Each of the dolls had its own personality and kids loved them. Each one had its own unique name and adoption certificate that was given to people who bought them. The initial craze calmed down, and so did the demand.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
Teddy Ruxpin. Kids today listen to interactive stories on their iPads, but 80s kids listen to Teddy Ruxpin. Released at a time in history when toys and technology had no business being mixed, Teddy Ruxpin broke that jinx with his ability to blend tech with a storytelling in a way that hadn't been seen before. A plush toy in the form of a bear, and all you needed to do was pop in a cassette tape to his back and he would come to life. His mouth and eyes would come alive as he narrated stories, and they were either fantasy, friendship, and adventure. The full packaging came with books so that children could read along as they listened. Eventually, Teddy Ruxpin lost his popularity, and with the cost of production and competition, it was then stopped.
HeMan, me claw with his awesome grip of evil.
HeMan. If someone around you said the catchphrase, "By the power of Grayskull, I have the power," you don't understand what it means, you're either a Gen Z or in a coma during the 80s. The catchphrase came from HeMan and Masters of the Universe. The series welcomed you to the world of Eternia, where magic and technology were used to fight epic battles between good and evil. It had a lot of colorful characters and moral lessons, and episodes were action-packed enough to keep children glued to the TV all day. After watching some episodes, every child wanted the toys to recreate the adventures they'd seen on TV. Amazing characters like HeMan, Prince Adam, the Sinister Skeletor, Man-at-Arms Teela, and Battle Cat, and all of them had unique features and skills that every child wanted to copy. After its original run ended in 1985, there wasn't much support to keep the brand in the spotlight.
This is Princess Adora, sister of He-Man, and her gentle horse. Each sold separately, you can pretend.
She-Ra action figure. He-Man wasn't the only action figure. His twin sister was She-Ra from the world of Eternia. She was one of the first major female action heroes, known for how she had also led the fight against the evil Horde along with characters like Glimmer, Bo, and Catra. Action plus fashion equaled She-Ra dolls. Their detailed designs, glittering accessories, as well as colorful outfits were why girls loved them so much. She-Ra came with her own signature sword, tiara, and cape, which transformed into a shield, and in the show she was a warrior and a princess. Since female action figures were rare at the time, the strong, intelligent, and compassionate She-Ra was the role model for many young girls.
Have an incredible appetite for fun, and that's why our kitchen center has tons of things to satisfy it.
Little Tikes kitchen sets. Some children love to play dress up, and some like to play pretend, and others would rather pretend cooking. That's why the Little Tikes kitchen set found a way into the hearts of parents in the 1980s. The kitchen set offered a miniature version of a real kitchen, complete with appliances and utensils, and also had pretend food items. So children who loved to watch their mother cook could role-play by using these sets to mimic them, while cleaning and other kitchen activities were also there. They had pretend burners that made noise, sinks with running water, and oven doors that opened and closed. What more could a pretend chef have asked for? The kitchen sets had bright colors and were designed to fit into playrooms, so parents didn't need a large space to set them up.
But only her friends, the holograms, Kimber, Aja, and Shayna, know that Jerica's also Jem.
Jem and the holograms. Music, fashion, and adventure were all wrapped up in style in each Jem and the holograms toy. It was based on a show with the same name, following the story of Jerica Benton, where she used the help of a holographic computer named Synergy to transform herself into the glamorous rock star Jem. Each of Jem's dolls came with vibrant, edgy clothing that had bright colors, glitter, big hair, and bold accessories. It was exactly the fashion statement for the 1980s. Many of the dolls came with musical accessories such as mini instruments, microphones, and cassette tapes that featured music from the actual show. And between all of the unique characters in the program, children had a wide variety of choices to select from. They could decide which character suited them and was best to buy.
She even drinks a special formula, Rainbow!
Rainbow Bright. If you think the toys of today are colorful, well, you haven't seen Rainbow Bright. If you were looking for bright and bold colors and imaginative design, you'd have found them in Rainbow Bright toys. According to the animated TV series, Rainbow Bright was a cheerful girl in the world of Rainbow Land, and she and her friends had the responsibility of fighting against the forces of darkness led by villains like Murky Dismal and Lurky. Their responsibility was to keep the rainbow world colorful and happy. Rainbow Bright dolls were soft plush toys with large and expressive eyes and colorful hair, and their outfits were designed to match their assigned color of the rainbow. Rainbow Bright herself was known for her blue dress with a rainbow belt, while Red Butler was the color red, and Lala Orange was known for her orange, and so on. Every Rainbow Bright toy also had a sprite. Sprites were like the sidekicks with the same color as the toy they followed. They were sold as plush toys together with Rainbow Bright characters.
Lady Lovely Locks, she can change from a sweet young maid.
Lady Lovely Locks. We didn't only have fashion-themed and music-themed toys, we also had fairy tale worlds of princesses with beautiful and flowing hair as well as magical creatures. Who doesn't love the idea of a magical hair that can be adorned with charming creatures? Each doll came with long and silky hair you could style in different ways. You could choose to brush it and adorn it with a tiny clip-on creature. They were called pixie tails, small and colorful animals with flowing tails, and it was those tails that were used as clips for the doll's hair. Children loved them because of that long hair, and back then they spent a lot of time styling it into what probably would have been done to their own hair if it was that long.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Transformers. Would you choose a life where you could shapeshift into a robot, a car, a dinosaur, or even a gun? That was the concept of Transformers toys sold to us. There were probably no toys that anyone could remember that left children back then as spellbound and in awe as the Transformers did. It's fair to say they shaped an entire generation. Transformers were robots in disguise, and their backstory was that they were more than meets the eye. There were two different types of Transformers. Autobots were the heroes, and Decepticons were the villains. Both sides were from a race called Transformers. Basically, they were robots that could change into vehicles, mechanical devices, and even animal forms. They made children back then believe that they could make themselves into anything they wanted to be to achieve whatever they wanted to do.
Every day can be a Care Bear day.
Care Bears. If you needed to give someone a gift with a positive message and an additional bright-colored bear, Care Bears were perfect as a choice back then. The Care Bears were designed in a way that each one had a unique belly badge. That badge represented their personality and caring mission that they had. For instance, Tenderheart Bear had a red heart symbolizing love, while Funshine had a bright sun representing happiness. Since they were plush toys, they were perfect for hugging and snuggling and easy to carry around, and also had a movie series that showed children the bears were living in the magical land called Care-a-Lot. What the bears did majorly in the series was go on adventures, spreading love while stopping villains like Professor Coldheart.
Play our song, musical Glowworm.
I sing you lullabies, I make your days bright.
Glowworm. If you were afraid of sleeping in the dark or just needed a nighttime companion to cuddle, a glowworm was the perfect friend. Designed in such a way that when you squeezed the toy it would light up, it gave a gentle and comforting glow. Parents didn't need to be worried because the light wasn't too bright and it couldn't affect the child's sleep, and that made it perfect for children who were afraid of the dark or needed a nightlight to fall asleep. A plush toy with a soft body that looked like a worm made it easy and comfortable to cuddle, and it was commonly dressed in an outfit that looked like pajamas. For kids, the glowworm was their perfect friend, ready to go to sleep when they were too. And if there was one thing that parents loved about them, it was the fact that it was a simple toy compared to many of those in the era that had so many complex designs.
Clover's stalling our plans. He's escaping in the Viper glider. Joe, catch him.
The G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. These figurines were close to 4 inches tall, but they represented the real American hero. If you've ever seen the movie Toy Story, you must have come across them. They were designed to represent different branches of the U.S. military with highly detailed uniforms, weapons, and accessories. G.I. Joe were a team of elite soldiers fighting a terrorist organization known as Cobra. They had different vehicles, playsets, and accessories such as tanks and helicopters, and even an aircraft carrier. With the different characters they had like Snake Eyes, the mysterious ninja commando, and Destro, who was the weapon supplier for Cobra, children were able to become imaginative enough to create storylines for themselves. Even though it was a cartoon, it didn't limit the stories that children could imagine by themselves from the set of characters they had available. Some of them were rare, while some were quite common, and that made the rare finds create long queues at the toy stores. New Polly Pocket Dolls. Polly Pocket toys were plastic cases that when you opened you'd find a dollhouse or another playset with a Polly Pocket figurine. These figurines were less than an inch tall, and each of them had a distinct character. There was Polly Pocket herself as the mayor of Pollyville, having curly blonde hair and a headband that could be in different colors to match whatever outfit she was wearing. Tiny Tina had blonde pigtails, and Wee Willie was a boy doll with a blonde bowl cut. Then there was Midge, Little Lulu, Pixie, and Twitch, and they all had different accessories that were sold with them. Children were at liberty to create their own imaginative storylines from the characters as they wished.
Who can stop Psycho? Max Steel. Infused with in-tech super strength, he's the world's strongest, coolest secret agent.
Max Steel. Children who love secret agent stories and James Bond vibes love this toy series. Inspired from a secret agent who had superhuman strength and agility, Max Steel could use advanced technology. The toys typically featured him in a variety of action-packed scenarios, with a range of high-tech gadgets and vehicles that most children at the time could only dream of using. The Max Steel toy package came with various accessories like weapons, gadgets, and armor, designed in a way that made them compatible with the characters, making it easy for children to put them inside the vehicles when coming up with their own stories. Some of the characters even had special features like electronic sounds or body parts that could transform.
Strawberry shortcake with her freckled nose and raspberry tart, both are cute when they're posed.
Strawberry Shortcake. It may sound like an edible cake to those who have never heard of it, but the 80s kids know better. Strawberry Shortcake was first created as a character for a greeting card before the real toys were made from characters. She was the main character of the series, a cheerful girl with a strawberry-themed outfit and a sweet, fruity scent. The toy was your typical rag doll, having freckles and a mop of red yarn hair, usually dressed with an apron and a strawberry-printed bonnet. They were given realistic scents, and every character always smelt in line with the fruit they were named after. Each of them had a themed name and wore clothing with fruit patterns, and that meant that if you bought the blueberry muffin character, you would get one with a blueberry fruit pattern that smelled like blueberry and had themed stories that came along with it. Amongst others were raspberry tart, lemon meringue, and many more.
Thank me, Stampy and Spangler are here. So are these ghosts. They've got eggs.
The real Ghostbusters. Based off of the Ghostbusters movie, these characters were about 5 inches tall and miniatures of those in the TV series, like Peter Venkman, Egon Spengler, Ray Stantz, and Winston Zeddemore. There were also ghost equipment that replicated the machines used in the movie and show, and also a proton pack that was detachable and could be attached to the characters. You'd usually find the proton pack was a toy vortex or a beam feature. They gave the same vibes as the proton beams in the movies, and there were also ghost traps and PKE meters. All of the equipment was used against villains like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, Slimer, and others, as well as ghosts themselves.
A whole family of lovable, huggable little people that giggle when you wiggle them and have
Snuggle Bum. If you were a child in the 80s who loved a plush toy and stuffed animals, you must have had a Snuggle Bum at one point or another. This was a series of funny characters that had long, funny backs that could be brushed, and if you needed huggable and snuggable companions, the Snuggle Bums were perfect as an option. Each of them were designed with a sunny personality that would brighten kids up anytime, and they came with a full package of color-coordinated brushes and story booklets that told you the background story of the doll. With the background story, children could create more imaginative tales.
other charms and accessories are sold separately.
I keep all my Charmkins here. It's
The Charmkins. There were also toys that were designed to be both a collectible and a wearable. Each one about an inch tall, they were made out of plastic and featured themes that were related to flowers, fruits, and other cute designs. It had small but colorful characters that you could be attached as a fashion charm on necklaces, bracelets, rings, or even as hair accessories. They were made with small loops and hooks where jewelry could be attached. This allowed children to carry their favorite characters with them as part of their everyday outfits, and it was indeed a fashion statement for children back then.
Got a secret treasure to keep safe? You can keep it in a keeper.
Keepers, keepers.
Keepers. For children who like to hide treasure, keepers were the perfect play item. They were both a toy and a secret storage container. To make that possible, they were designed with a hidden compartment. You could commonly find the compartment somewhere on the body or under a flap, and children would store small items like jewelry, coin, and other treasures in this compartment while playing with the toy itself. It had a dual functionality that children who love to keep treasures found fascinating. Which of these toys do you remember? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, you'll also want to see this one about 20 gadgets from the 70s that were ahead of their time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications to stay updated with all the latest videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.